Hi there, my name is Madi and I'm a Colorado knitter. This is my YouTube channel all about knitting, making, yarn festivals. If you're new here, thank you so much for tuning in. Hopefully you'll stick around a while. And if you're coming back to my podcast, thank you so much for your support and coming back. Today I'll talk about knitting, yarn, what I've been working on, and my experience at the New York Sheep and Wool and the Rybeck and surrounding area festivities. You can also find me on Instagram at Colorado Knitter and on Ravelry Colorado 5 Knitter. And then what I'm wearing is the Yokey Dokey by Gudrun Johnston. I love this shape. I feel like I can reach for it all the time and just wear it with whatever. It kind of feels like just a good, mine is cropped, so a good cropped sweatshirt. But I love it so much that now I'm looking at making the tunic. So I've been looking at more of a chocolate brown, Jamieson's of Shetland spindrift. So stay tuned, and I think I will be making the tunic soon. This one is knit in Jamieson's and Smith Shetland yarn that I purchased a while back at Fancy Tiger Crafts that will no longer be a store anymore. But I had this wonderful yarn in my stash, so I love it. It's a super sweater, so go check it out, Yokey Dokey. Before I get too far into the podcast, I wanted to announce the winner. Last episode, I talked about the fact that it's been a year of podcasting, which I can't believe. I really am thankful that I did it, and I keep encouraging folks I meet who are interested in doing it to go for it, because I've met amazing people, and I really don't think I would have felt connections like I feel if I hadn't done the podcast. So if you're thinking about it, go for it. It's really fun. But this is the giveaway that I was mentioning I'd like to share with viewers out there. This is Hugh Loco's Chicken Club Backyard Chicken Collection, and this is in the Phyllis sock, 75% superwash and 25% nylon. And so the winner, I'll put it here. I did a random number generator this morning, and the winner is Christina Trotter, 8526. So if this is you, please let me know. And my email is listed in the show notes down below. So email me your information and we'll get this out to you. All right. Let's see. What I'll start with is what I've been working on. That way, if folks are ready to tune out or need to go do something else, or you've seen enough Rhinebeck recaps, then you can go ahead and tune off, and I'll share that at the end. All right, I'm really excited to share what I've been working on. So when we were traveling, I mostly was working on my socks. These are the autumn socks from the collaboration from Le Garçon and Wool and Zanache, and this is the first of two socks. I have the second one started about this much, and it's in the car because it's perfect soccer game knitting or church knitting or hanging out knitting, and it was awesome for traveling because I could do this in line, I could do this on the plane, I could do it in the car. So this is my first sock, and I have been exploring with the US 1 needle. I use a 9-inch circular needle, and I have been exploring with the US 1 or the US 0. These are in the US 0, and I really like the fabric it makes. So today I took the gauge of this, and it is between 36 to 37 stitches per 4 inches. I believe when I use the US 1, I'm around 32 stitches. So it's interesting. I'll see how these wear and see if I can keep up. It doesn't bother my hands to use a US 0 at all. So I guess if I like the fabric, I should keep going. But this is a cast on with a German twisted cast on. This is a 2x2 ribbing. and I did do 64 stitches, and then I just essentially go until I have a good minute to do a Soxploration sock heel, which is the shadow wrap heel. I can now kind of do it at like a soccer game, but I really do prefer to do just the stockinette portions when I'm out. And then I did do the toe as actually in the Soxploration socks toe. Now I've been kind of going back and forth between the toes of Summer Lee's base pattern for her Colorwork Club socks and the Soxploration sock toe. I haven't settled on which is my favorite toe yet, but this heel does fit me quite well. So the second one will be on its way, and per usual, I love Woolens and Osh's base and their stripes and the colors. So that's the first thing I have going on. Secondly, I showed this last time. This is the Joji Twisted Affair beanie, and this is in Woolfolk Luft. And so it's an Aran to bulky weight, but it's kind of like that. I'm sure you can't see, but it's like sort of like this cotton tube where the merino is blown into it. So I feel like you could get quite a variety of gauges with that. But this is on a US 8. And so I had mentioned that I had done one repeat less so that I could have it not folded, because I thought that was quite beautiful, the way that the ribbing plays into the cable there. And the decreases are so pretty on the top. So I have this version, but then I had two more skeins of the Luft in a different color. And this is a white that I think way back when the fires were really bad in California multiple years ago, they had a fundraiser actually, and they were selling this white as a fundraiser for the fires and those affected by the fires. And so this is the yarn from that, but I did the version just as Joji designed. This one is blocked, this one has not been blocked. I still have ends and stuff, but this one has all the repeats and the option to fold it up. And here's the ends still after, but I like this version as well. So they kind of do look a bit like a different vibe on each one, but I really like them both. Very fast, definitely could do it in a day or two. Perfect gift knit. In fact, I know who I'm gifting this one to, and then we'll see where this guy goes. But super fun. Twisted Affair by Joji should be released soon. And the cable is such an easy thing to memorize. You don't need to be looking at the chart or anything once you get into the rhythm. I did keep, on my watch, I have a stitch counter, row counter. And so I could do this hat watching TV with everybody and just push, where I am on the chart. But I knew the chart only had one cable in it. So it was easy to do, no big deal as far as remembering it and having that on the go. I did take this also with me, and I did a few of the cables on the plane, but very fun. Highly recommend that. So that should be coming out soon. Oh, I have one more. This is like the hat show. I'm gonna reach over here and grab it. Another finished hat I have is, I think it's more like a preview knitting volunteer position with Brooklyn Tweed. They posted kind of an interest request of anyone who might want to do a sample or preview knits for their patterns that are coming up in November, or they'll have another bundle of patterns that might be coming out, so you can kind of volunteer to do that as well. But they give you a good discount on the yarn if you choose to buy yarn, but you're not required to. But this is, let's see, it's called Kitelines, and it is in the Imbue, I-M-B-U-E Sport from Brooklyn Tweed. Let's see, I did write down what this was. The Imbue Sport is It's American spun merino. So worsted spun, and it's American merino. So super soft, very light, but it has a great stitch. I've never done this stitch, which is super fun. I have a tickle in my throat. But I feel like in every pattern I learn something new. Really every pattern. It's crazy. I can't believe it. I keep learning something new each time, which I think that's what's super appealing about this hobby and craft. But I had never done this dip stitch before, and it's really cool. I really like it. So they offer a variety of fits. You can have a beret version. I did one extra repeat just to make sure it covers my ears, because I don't like it when I'm messing with it to come down lower. So it fits great. It's really fun. So the combinations are endless. I also had thought maybe like a brown and a black, but maybe I'll make that one for Donnie. So another hat. It's really great. Keep an eye out. It'll be out in November with their whole cozy collection line. All right, so let's see if there's anything else to say about the Brooklyn tweed. Nope, I think that's it. The Imbue, I've only used it, the worsted Imbue, and that's probably not even how we say it. Sorry if I'm pronouncing it wrong. But it is the sport. I love sport weight yarn, so that was really fun and enjoyable to knit. I really do also, I feel like my hands are so rough on these knits, so I really need to find a good solution for my raw hands. Okay, let's see. The other thing I've been working on is the Bibliophile by Alicia Plummer, and this yarn was sent to me to make a sample for their shop, and with this pattern by Alicia Plummer, and it's Fantasy Fibers Yarn Company, and the Smut DK, which is an 85% superwash merino and a 15% Donegal nep, the Tweety Bits. It's a really, really pretty yarn. It feels really nice in the hand. But this is what I have. I have the collar done, the neckline that you add and pick up after the fact, after the shaping, which I feel like is a really nice fit. Have a sleeve on its way. I actually like doing sleeves, but it's really great. I really like it. Another thing new to me, I had never done this kind of ribbing before. It is 1x1 rib, and you just, so 1x1 rib, and then the next run it's 1x1, but you knit in the stitch below. So purl one, knit one below, purl one, knit below, and it makes such a squishy neckline. It's really cool. I wish you could feel it. It's so nice. Donnie even came in and he's like, that's a nice neckline. I think he said collar, which is what I call it too. But I did the fold over, so about 3 inches of that ribbing, and then you fold it over. And the pattern is for whip stitching it. But I love the way that Petite Knits has you bind off the collar with the stitches from the pickup. So I did that instead, which I do refer to that pattern. It's in the Poppy Tee. I refer to that pattern usually when I want to fold the neckline like that. But once I remind myself what it is, it's not hard to do. I'm gonna get a sip of coffee because, of course, the minute I started chatting, I have a little tickle in my throat. It is so windy outside. Like, it's nice weather as far as sunny, but I think the wind is bringing up all the allergens. All right, Bibliophile. Is there anything else about the Bibliophile? I think that's all. I'll come back to it if I forgot anything, because it's, like I said, I have notes, but they're all out of order. Oh, another thing that I learned on the Bibliophile is, so the last test knit I did was that last test knit sweater that I did was that rust sweater. And that I learned a lot about row gauge on. So I used that new information and applied it to this. So my Bibliophile row gauge is 28 stitches. And Alicia Plummer writes an excellent pattern, and she definitely notes that to kind of look at what your row gauge is versus her row gauge, which was 24 stitches. Because when you do the raglan, you want to make sure that there's that space underneath the armpit. So in my case, my row gauge is a little snugger. So I needed to measure from, she has the schematic too, which I love a schematic drawing where it shows the measurements and what they should be. So the schematic goes from this corner right here down to where the raglan ended, but it goes straight. Hopefully I'm explaining this clear, but it goes straight down. So I measured mine and I compared what my row gauge would calculate out to be, which was less, so it would be less depth. So I did math, knitter's math, and I did add another 10 rows of stockinette to equal the same measurement that Alicia Plummer had designed size C to be in this case. Granted, I would have not checked had she not pointed it out in the pattern notes to check, but it also gave me the reminder from my last project and why that one ended up being cropped and maybe not as oversized as I was hoping. So it was good to be reminded about row gauge, and it's okay, but we need to maybe compensate by adding some more stitches or more rows, things like that. So that was helpful for me. I'm not sure I was very clear in doing the math. So again, I'll probably totally mess this up as far as confuse everybody. But so 28 stitches, and I always divide it by 4 because that's 28 stitches and 4 inches to figure out what the 1 is. So what my stitches on 1 inch are. So 7. So 7, if I have 7 stitches per inch and I want to know, oh, if I need to have my garment be, we'll just keep it easy, 42 inches, how many repeats would that be in my case? Oh, I'm going to mess it up. I'm going to mess it up because I'm going to confuse myself. So scratch that, rewind, erase. I've already started this over again. I can't start it again. Okay, moving on. Because I'll get myself confused. Next thing I worked on, I love, I think it's Woolfolk. Let me look. I am a zoo. Yes, Woolfolk. She's a knit designer, and she has such a great aesthetic and patterns. So I'm doing a test knit for her, and it's the cutest socks ever. They're Gilded page socks, for now is the name. And it has a little Vikkel braid or Latvian braid, Estonian braid. But you can see it. You can see it actually really good on the back, I feel like. Which I did need to YouTube, and she provides that link in her pattern, but then it has a cute little easily memorizable repeat on the front, and it'll be on the top of the sock. But I'm really loving these. They're really nice. This is actually Sunday. I think I kept the label. I thought I kept the label. Oh, you know what? It's probably in the bag where I have the sock, which is a hide and hammer bag. Yeah. This is the sock yarn I got from Knit City last year, and it's barefoot organic sock, 80% organic merino and 20% recycled nylon, eco superwash, and the color dusk. but it's beautiful yarn. I really love Sunday Fiber Company's yarn, hand dyed in Vancouver, Canada. But these colors are really pretty. So this is pre-block, pre-soak, but this braid was really fun to make. And it doesn't change the elasticity. I tried it on and it was fine. Very cool. So that was something I learned on that pattern, which was super fun. Let's see, the Vikkel braid. It sounds like the Estonian braid, the Lateral braid, the Vikkel braid are all simultaneously used as far as the name goes. And I saw also Alex Bird had some great tutorials on that, because I think she has a shawl that includes lateral braids. And it's cool because you can see like the V, you know, the knitting V, the stockinette V goes this way, but then in the braid it goes this way, which is kind of cool. It would be pretty even, not noticeable probably, but pretty even in the same color. Okay, let's see. Another sip of coffee. My coffee is literally old coffee pot coffee. And we just pour into a pitcher. Real delicious, but it does the job. Okay, I think, oh no, one more thing I cast on yesterday, because so my good friend Rachel, who we traveled with, she had been knitting the Colorwork Club sock, which is by Summerly Knits, and she has the inverse of this, where she has the flowers white and then the beautiful colorwork yarn or color changing yarn in the back being the main color. And so I thought, hey, I wonder what it would look like if I did the Woolens and Nosh as the flowers. And I love, love, love it. It makes me so happy. I'm really happy about it. I can't wait to do the other cuff. It was so speedy because I couldn't wait to see what it looked like. Yay, I love it. And this is the main color is actually Needles at the Ready, Kevin's hand dyed yarn. I think it's Ghost Whisper or something like that. But it's one of his hand dyed yarns that I used for another pair of socks. So yay, I love these so much. I can't wait to keep working on those. And then I think that's all I've been working on. Let me just peek. Okay, y'all. So now I'm going to talk a bit about Rybeck. It will not be orderly. It'll be chaotically discussed because my brain is very hyper. But if you had enough of the Rybeck recaps, then I will say bye. But if you want to hear about my experience, then stick around. Okay, it was awesome. That's all I have to say. No, I'm just kidding. I had the best time. We had the best group of ladies to travel with. I got to meet up with my pals from North Carolina, and we stayed in a house together, and we got to enjoy the Woolen Affair. We got to enjoy India Untangled. We got to enjoy the Woolen Affair evening activities, and then we got to enjoy New York Sheep and Wool. I couldn't have asked for a better travel group. Everyone was so easygoing and laid back and happy for each other, and nobody was in a hurry ever, which we just kind of wanted to take it all in. So 3 of us, it was the first time going, which was also fun, I feel like. And my only goal was to take it all in. And so I think that was a really nice approach, because I didn't have an urgency as far as purchasing that special thing, which is awesome but hard to do sometimes. And I just wanted to see all the excited people and the people's their outfits and their clothing and their smiles and their bundles and it was just awesome. Everyone's so happy. Like, imagine if we just went to say you went to a big event and they weren't knitters, and then you asked to see in their bag what they were working on, or you went and touched their sweater, or you looked closely at their sleeve. That would be weird, but not at Rhinebeck. It's perfectly normal. I was definitely poking at people's bags and saying, what are you making? What is that? There are no icebreakers needed. You just talk knitting and everyone's so excited to share and show what they got and show what they've made, the beautiful sweaters. And Donnie said it really nicely. He's like, it's very cool to see all the people wearing things that they've worked on through memories, through times, through travels, and it's just kind of cool to see people working on something so special and getting to wear it where people love it and appreciate it. So starting off with Woolen Affair, it was a beautiful place at Rose Hill Farms. I think it's in Red Hook, and I've never been to upstate New York ever. And I think it's considered upstate New York. I've never been into that part of the world ever. And so it was beautiful. The colors of the leaves were awesome. I think it was peak leaf peeping. But the first Woolen Affair was a beautiful tent with beautiful vendors. I will share what I got there. I love Melissa from Sonder Yarns and Lisa, her old YouTube buddy, which I'll post a picture of them here together. They used to podcast together when they owned Espastrico. So it was really fun to see them both together, and I got to take their picture. And then I bought this beautiful bundle, and it is Sonder Yarn Co. The Sunday Morning Luxe Sport. And I actually remember kind of wanting to have seen this at Flock in Seattle. And so I was glad to see it. But this base is incredible. And the color is Heirloom. So it's BFL, Masham, and Cashmere. And I love the color a lot. And so my plan is to make the Space Time sweater. And I'll put it here so you guys can see it or look it up, but it is just a great staple pullover because I love this color, and I want more in my wardrobe that I can just grab and put on. Like if I'm gonna go take a walk or go to a soccer game or anything, just easy to grab, but it feels like you put a little bit more than a fleece on maybe. But I'm excited about this. It's been hard not to swatch because I want to swatch already. The other thing I couldn't resist was this gorgeous book, and it's a Lina printed book by Dee Hardwick and Jonna Helen. The names in case I didn't pronounce those correctly. But I had seen these pieces on Instagram, and then Dee was wearing one of the beautiful scarves that I'll show you a picture. But holy moly, it was so pretty. And it's duplicate stitch. I believe there's a different name for duplicate stitch, the type of embroidery. I'm trying to find the one that struck me because it was unreal. And they were light as a feather. They were just so gorgeous. Oh, it's this. So this is like a little patchwork. Let's see if there's, yeah, wow. I couldn't resist. But they signed it, and it was really fun to see them there. I think I was in a blur at that moment. I felt like it was so much that I just wanted to see everything, and I loved the environment. But the tent is crowded. It was definitely full, and I knew I didn't quote unquote need anything super urgently, so I was lucky to be able to just walk around and enjoy it and enjoy the fresh air. I really do think that the beautiful weather helped quite a bit. And then the organizer of Woolen Affair is I don't know this very well, but I think it's Brooklyn General's owner is the organizer of Brooklyn Affair or Woolen Affair, and she had kind of like a cuff along in case you wanted to make a cuff, and you could get a discount on the merch. So like the merch, kind of like these amazing bags with, I love this motif. It's beautiful. I have a t-shirt because I love it so much. And so this is my cuff, which will become a Kyoto mitten. It is not the pattern that the beautiful owner of Brooklyn General designed, but I wanted to have a cuff that I could use to make a mitten later. And they gave these cute little labels if you made a cuff. So I have two, one from the daytime event and then one from the evening event. So one per mitten, and the Kyoto mitten is beautiful. The gauge you're gonna die is 40 stitches for 4 inches, but it feels so good. And this is on a US 1 that I did this, and this is with Helix, La Bien-Aimée Helix, held double. So it's the same as my smidge of my M-Cow, my Stephen West M-Cow, but they'll go together. Someday. I saw the final, I guess the end result of the M-Cow Stephen West shawl. It is gorgeous. I really love it. So I'll have to get working on that. So Woolen Affair was awesome. I mean, everything was awesome. I'll pop in a few more pictures. I also got to meet these lovely podcasters. I'll have to link their link below because I'm terrible with the names of things, and so I always forget. But I do love their giggly podcast, and it was fun to see them. It was funny because I saw them individually, and I was like, I feel like I watched them, and then, or the individual, and then once they were standing together, I was like, I know who they are. So they were super sweet to take a picture. And then afterwards, we tried the apple cider donuts, and they were really yummy. And we got to go to the Perfect Blend yarn store. And there were just knitters along the benches outside, and there were just knitters everywhere. It was awesome. And so it was really, that's a beautiful, beautiful shop. And so if you ever can get a chance, I don't know if I had heard that the owner's retiring or not, but the store and the yarn was gorgeous at the Perfect Blend, and the people, all the knitters were lovely. Next, we went to Indian Tangled, which I was floored. I did not know. I really went into this with my lovely pals who were great organizers, and I was just there to go along and enjoy everything. I didn't have to drive. I didn't have to do anything. It was incredible. So thank you, drivers. But Indian Tangled was huge. I didn't expect it to be so big, but it was like 3 barns with gorgeous space and grass you could sit in. There were food trucks. There were like little golf carts that would take you if it was too much walking. And then the weather was awesome and incredible. So I could have enjoyed buying everything, but I only bought a bag from Beautiful Sister, which we've talked about before. And I didn't realize how good these go together. But I love their bags, and the zipper bags are just so great and useful. So, and I was able to give them a hug, which I loved. And I'm thankful for my pal Rachel, because I was kind of shy to always ask for pictures. But I'm glad I have them now, so I'm super thankful. And then in the last tent before we left Indian Tangled, we got to see the guys. I got to see Kevin and Ray and Michael, and there's just something about those guys that really make you smile, and you feel so comfortable with them. And I really want to get to know them better, but I feel like I know you guys. I don't know, that's super weird maybe, but I love those guys very much. And then I got to meet the Knitting Posse ladies, who are fantastic, and I've also wanted to meet and get to know. So I really don't think I would make these connections without podcasting, but I'm so glad that I have made some connections, and I can't wait to see you guys again, which is such a cool feeling. And then we took a break. We went home for a while to the house, and then it was time for the Woolen Affair evening event, which I got to meet more people, and lovely people came up to say hi that have watched the podcast, and it was unreal, and I'm so glad that you guys said hi, and I loved it. It was awesome. Let's see. Stephanie came up and said hi to me, and so I'll put some pictures, and then Sarah, and then I got to see the guys again briefly, and the Knitting Posse and Sue, and it was so fun. And then we got to sit at this table in a tent, and I'll put the picture here, with these two amazing ladies who they talked about podcasting, so I hope they do, because they are so fun and lovely, and I'll put their handles down below as well, because they were so fun to talk to, and they had such a great connection. They're two best friends, and they went to Rybeck together, and they were so fun to hang out with. So I'll link them below, and I hope you guys podcast. It's so fun. Okay, oh, excuse me. So the next day it was Rhinebeck. It was New York Sheep and Wool, the big one. And again, we calmly went around maybe 9:30. We started to park, and it was easy parking, easy to get in to the gates. It was not a huge line. I was kind of surprised. It was definitely busy inside the barns, so I didn't know what to expect, but it's multiple barns and tents, and all the barns, most of them are like walk through, which is nice, because then you feel like you have two spaces to get some fresh air, but it was awesome. So the very first barn we went to was Matterroot, and the ladies bought the beautiful Matterroot bags. And I got to see Gudrun, and I got to see Renee of Adventure Knits, and at the, Wing in a Prayer booth. And then I got to see Kate, who works with Gudrun and the Shetland yarn, and I loved it. I don't know, it's like you get to see a bunch of really special people that you've been following and you really like, and you're excited to see them, and it's just super fun. And walking out, we saw like our son duo, and it was Vincent and Max, and they're so cool and they're so cute. And then we saw the guys again, Kevin and Ray and Michael, and then the ladies of Knitting Posse. We got to pet a cashmere goat that was beautiful and super soft, super duper soft. Let's see. Victoria and I of Knitworthyyarns, we loved going into the sheep barns and seeing the cute little faces. And then the hill. I did not know what the hill meant. It's like a little slope between, kind of on the edge of the barns and at the edge of the whole fairground, I guess. So like there's a big meadow part where they do the shows with the herding dogs or the frisbee dogs, and then there's like this little slope, and it was so cool. I loved hanging out on the hill, just watching all the people. We probably were there from like 11 to 2. There's benches, you can sit on the grass. People are knitting, people are wearing their knits, people are asking what you bought, people are showing their whips. It's so fun. But we got to meet Andrea Mowry, which I think you guys know I love. I love her and her designs. We chatted a little bit more with Knitting Posse group. The same, you kind of feel like you know, but you want to know more, and you just want to chat and hang out. And then we got to see, let's see, I'm peeking at my photos now because there's so many. We got to see the lovely Denise of Earth Tones Girl. I think I was flustered when I saw her. I was like, let me show you my sock, and it was all tangled up. I was a zoo, but I was so excited to see her smiles and her beautiful face. I got to see the folks collecting for Socks for Sam. They were brilliant, and they were passing out these amazing, very useful measuring tapes and Socks for Sam. I learned a little bit more. It is a fundraiser for vanishing white matter disease, and the fundraiser is for research and for the families who are going through that with a family member. And so Socks for Sam, it's online, and I'll link it below as well, but they're taking donations of single sock projects, and it's a way to spread the word about vanishing white matter disease. So that was very special to me. I was very touched that I got to see them and give them a sock. Let's see. We saw Gudrun again. Oh my gosh, you guys, the framed. Oh, I got to see these lovely viewers too. I didn't ask permission about posting them here, but I do have a lovely picture of them, and it is on my Instagram. But I will make sure you go check that out in my Rhinebeck memories. These two were sisters, and they were so sweet, and they made me feel so good. They made my day, letting me know that they enjoy the podcast and enjoy watching. So if you're watching, hi. And then the frame sweater. Holy moly, it came out. There were a lot. So I think 2 p.m. was Andrea Mowry's meetup on the hill, and she's lovely. She's a beautiful woman, and she had so many people in the frame sweater. It was crazy amazing. There were a lot, but this one really caught my eye, and this is from Ravelry. I took a screenshot of Ravelry, and I'm totally going to show you like the old days, showing my picture here on my phone. But look at how cute the one with just the band on the bottom. So now I'm totally going to make it like that. I like that. Hopefully you can see. If I rewatch it and you can't see what I showed, I'll post it up on the side. But I like it. It's just a band here and then a band on the sleeve. Very cute. I could be into that. Let's see. All right. I had to bought something the first day. I don't know if I did. I might have. I think this is what I bought the first day. Let's see. It is by Bolayer Orchards. And I did post everything that I purchased on Instagram as well, because then I would remind myself. But this is the label. And it is 100% raw model CVM wool. And it's DK weight, 370 yards. And they're both beautiful neutrals. And they were selling coats for dogs. And I said, oh, but I have a St. Bernard. And the lady there working the booth also had a St. Bernard. So we got to show pictures of our St. Bernards. But let's see, I want to show you the hat, but I don't want to show you the pattern. So this will become the Kirk hat, which they had to show in the neutral colors. And this is the Kirk hat. And it is, they showed both, and you can do both, like you could do the main color in this, and then the color work, and then the inverse, and you have enough for both hats, for 2 hats. So I'm pretty excited about that. I can't wait to wind this up and go for it. It's beautiful. So my pal Jenny and I both bought that amazing kit. All right. I think I probably have a picture of it on my phone as well. If I do, I'll make sure to put it up here so you can see it in the neutrals. Day 2, we had a slow morning. We enjoyed coffee and knitting in our jammies. And then we went to the second day at New York Sheep and Wool, probably around 11. Again, mellow. Everyone was super content and just happy to enjoy the good weather and the activities. And so we got to see some of the authors with their book signing tables. which we got to see Gudrun again. We saw the grocery girls who were there getting their photos with authors. They are funny all the time, so I enjoyed watching them in the wild. And then I got to see Denise again from Earth Tones Girl, and the first time I saw her, I was flustered because she was looking at that little bag that I knit socks from, and I was flustered and tangled up with my yarn and trying to show her. And then she had said kindly that she wanted one of those bags, and of course I was like, yes, I'll make you one. And it didn't dawn on me to just give it to her. So the next time I saw her, I was so happy to see her a second time so I could give her the little bag. I don't know if she really wanted it, but I gave it to her. And she was so gracious and funny, and I loved it. And then then all of a sudden this beautiful lady comes around the corner. This is after we've looked around some of the barns and just enjoyed the fresh air. And I wasn't unfamiliar with Erika Field of Grapefruit Gardenia, and she's a designer. And I stopped her because she was wearing this gorgeous cowl, and I asked, what is this beautiful cowl? And she shared that it was her design, and it was called Unbroken Circle. And she was talking about the design being a representation of the sheep circles. And so I'll link to Junction Fiber Mill episodes 71 and 73, which talks about this beautiful story of her sheep coming around in a circle as one of the mamas mourned a loss of her lamb, and then they came around a circle around their shepherdess who was losing her mama. And so it's just a beautiful story, and I can totally see the unbroken circle in this cowl, and I really am drawn to making that with some farmy wool. So I'm excited about that, and I was really interested in what Erika Field was sharing and talking about, and I loved learning about that and about the farm yarns available that I'll also link below. I can't remember very well the name of the yarn that Erika Field used, but it was in a collaboration with a shepherdess I feel like she buys fibers from shepherdess and then creates a very farm yarn. Let's see if there's anything else. I can show you the last bits that I bought. The last tent or barn we went to was where I bought the last bunch of stuff. So I love the idea of this Green Mountain Spinnery, and this is worsted weight yarn, 100% North American fiber, 30% yearling mohair, and 70% wool. I actually really like when mohair and wool are already combined into a fiber, and this is the Brickyard colorway, this awesome color. And they had a sample, which is very helpful because you can visualize what you would like to make. And there was a chocolate brown that I liked, but they didn't have enough. But I would like to make the O-B-A-N vest by Thea Coleman. And I had just seen Kate from the Knitting Posse with a vest from Thea Coleman. And I liked it, kind of like the vest was a vest for you could wear a shirt under, but it kind of had like a little bit of a cap sleeve. So I really liked that detail. So then I was in my head walking to this last barn thinking vest, and then they had a sample of the O-band vest, which I love the cables in that. So I thought this would be awesome with like a denim shirt or anything really. So I'm excited about that. I've been wanting to swatch for this too. So Green Mountain Spinnery, I also kind of tried to read a little bit about each little farm that I purchased from, but there's so much to learn. This is what I've learned is Green Mountain Spinnery loves to mill the fiber they receive all from the US, and they use antique equipment, vintage equipment, and their mills in Vermont. But that is what I learned about them. And then the last purchase I made is a stunner. I'm sure I'm forgetting some things, but you'll see them as the podcast goes on, as I'm sure there'll be lots of cast-ons. But the last yarn I'll talk about today is Flora and Fauna. Look at this gorgeous label. And this is a first generation of farmers that work with Romney sheep, and they hand dye their yarn. And I don't know if I was getting tired, but I got emotional when I read this label. It's New York sheep wool raised on our pasture-based off-grid farm from the fleeces of violet, fern, clover, parsley, and fennel. That's the name of the sheep. And it's a sport weight. And I actually picture maybe, at first I thought hat, because that's always a go-to. But I might do like one of those little, the little neck scarves. So I think that might be in my plan. But I love the color. I love the label. Their story is really beautiful. I'll link it below. And it's really, really fun to learn about these farms, big and small. All right, y'all. I think that's it. I am sure there's other goodness in the bags that I could share. But we have friends coming and I gotta clean. So I really hope you enjoyed. I will keep on knitting. You guys keep on making. And I'll see you in the next one. See ya.